Life has a funny way of turning things around. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, your future, your partner, your choices, something shifts. Without warning, you find yourself questioning everything. You look at the person you built your life with, and the thought creeps in quietly, dangerously. What if the person I let go was the one I should have never left? That was me, sitting in the stillness of my own home, unable to tell if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. It was supposed to be just another night. Daniel, my husband, sat next to me on the couch. The TV played in the background, unnoticed. The silence between us said more than words ever could. Something had changed. Something vital. He was lost in his phone, scrolling mindlessly. I played with the sleeves of my sweater, lost in thought. We used to be so close, always talking, laughing, finding meaning in the little things. But those moments had slowly vanished. They slipped away without us even noticing. Now the silence had replaced the laughter. The warmth had faded, and I felt it like a weight on my chest. A space had grown between us, and I knew I had helped put it there. Still, that wasn't what scared me most. What haunted me, what I couldn't ignore, was him. Ethan. My first love. The one I let go. The one who still found his way into my thoughts when I least expected it. It had been years since we last spoke, yet memories of him returned like waves, soft, aching, undeniable. Daniel offered me peace and consistency, a life that made sense. But peace and happiness aren't always the same, are they? Sometimes, choosing calm means giving up the fire, the passion that once made you feel alive. That night, something inside me cracked. I looked at Daniel, still caught up in his screen, and the words came out before I could stop them. I should have stayed with Ethan. Daniel didn't flinch. He looked up slowly, his eyes meeting mine, not with shock or anger, but with something heavier, like he'd been waiting for those words, like he already knew. He stood without a word, pulled on his jacket, and walked out the door. I didn't stop him. I couldn't. As he left, I felt my heart race, but not from panic. A strange sense of clarity settled over me. Not relief in losing him, but relief in finally facing the truth I'd buried for so long. Days passed in a haze. He didn't answer my calls. Daniel was the kind of man who believed in talking through things. But this time was different. He was gone, and I didn't know if he'd come back. I wasn't sure if I wanted him to. Was I really happy? Or had I chosen a life that looked right on the outside but felt hollow on the inside? Daniel was everything I thought I should want. He was safe, but somewhere along the way, I had forgotten what it felt like to be fully seen. Late one night, I found myself digging through an old box of photos. Pictures of Ethan and me, smiling, young, fearless. We'd been messy, sure, reckless, but we had loved hard, with fire, with no fear of falling. I could still hear his laugh, still remember how he looked at me like I was everything. Weeks went by with no word from Daniel. I floated between two worlds, one where I was married to a man I no longer truly knew, and another where the memory of Ethan clung to me like a second skin. I missed him, missed who I was with him. There was a depth to our connection that I hadn't felt in years. Not with Daniel, not with anyone. I couldn't avoid it any longer. I sent Daniel a message, an apology. I told him I didn't mean to hurt him. But even as I typed it, I knew the issue ran deeper than that. It wasn't about what I said. It was about everything I hadn't said for years. Then, just as I was about to close the chapter for good, my phone lit up. A message. From Ethan. Hey, it's been a long time. My heart stopped. I stayed at the screen, unsure what to do. Then my fingers moved before I could second-guess it. Yeah, it really has. And just like that, the wall between past and present crumbled. We talked. About everything. About nothing. The years between us vanished with every message. He told me he still thought about me, that he had always wondered what might have happened if we hadn't walked away. And there it was, that question. The one I had whispered in the quiet corners of my heart for years. Me too. saying it felt like opening a door I had sealed shut long ago. I had spent years molding myself into someone I thought I needed to be. Someone stable. Someone safe. But that wasn't me. Talking to Ethan reminded me of who I really was. Who I used to be. Who I wanted to be again. I don't know what happens next. Maybe it's too late. Or maybe this is the beginning of something real. Something I should have never let go of. But one thing is certain, once you face the truth, there's no turning back. And for the first time in years, I'm ready to see where it leads.